Welcome to, what are we? 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit number 4, win-win. Hey, Colleen.
Hello, Nikki. Hello, groupies. Great to be here again.
Thank you for being here, as always.
Pleasure, as always.
Yeah, that's right. So we're having a quick chat beforehand of this chapter. This is one of my favourite ones, actually.
I think within the opening paragraph of that, I'm just going to read you a little bit because I found this quite profound. Remember that effective independence can only be built on a foundation of true independence. Did I say interdependence correctly in that? Or did I skip it?
No, I think it's fine.
So we can't be successful with other people if we haven't first paid the price to be successful ourselves.
And that's, you know, the true essence of like what Scratching Records is about, is to work on yourself. Because if you can work on yourself and be the best you can be in here, you can be the best for others. And then that's when the results start to happen.
That's when we see the ripple effect and we can start changing the world. Another little quote from this chapter was, "You can't have the fruits without the roots." I think that was another good one.
It talks about into the chapter win-win, but it talks about the emotional bank account, which I found quite fascinating. So we have, so I'll just read actually what he's got here because he explains it better than anyone. But an emotional bank account is a metaphor that describes the amount of trust that's been built up in relationship. It's a feeling of safeness you have with another human being. If I make deposits into the emotional bank account with you through courtesy, kindness, honesty, and keeping my commitments to you, I build up a reserve. Your trust towards me becomes higher, and I can call upon that trust many times if I need to. I can even make mistakes, and at that trust level, that emotional reserve will compensate for it. My communication may not be clear, but you'll get my meaning anyway. You won't make me an offender for a word. When the trust account is high, communication is easy, instant, and effective.
So how important is it to make sure we build this emotional bank account?
And I guess it's been reliable, it's been there, it's kind of just been a good person.
Well, he's got the 6 major deposits. First one's understanding the individual. So I think this is understanding their map. So asking questions so that you are actually getting the true meaning of what the other person is saying and not putting your map on it.
And I guess that's what we tend to do, or we're not truly listening and taking that time to understand what they need because we're worried about what we want to say and then trying to get our point across. And there's no understanding there because you haven't really listened to what it is they want. And and
if you look at that in a workplace where the manager may be focused on achieving a certain goal and not actually having any interest in there may be some sort of challenge that one of the team members is having, but the manager's not actually taking the time to understand what that is. So then you have the manager getting angry at the staff member then probably bad mouthing the manager because there's no trust being built between the two of them. And we can see how company cultures are quite often on rocky ground.
And I think that comes
and really taking the time to understand the map and be really curious, asking lots of questions. So that's the first of the 6 major deposits is getting curious and really understanding the individual.
Absolutely. And the second one is attending to the little things.
Down to attending to the little things, the acknowledging someone when they walk in the room, instead of having your head down doing whatever you're doing, that you actually look up and have eye contact and you're genuinely listening. I think that's something that we you know, we probably do a little bit too often. And you can see where that becomes an issue between parents and kids, because the kids don't think they're getting the attention when they want it. You know, the parents are busy, but those little things are the things that are going to actually increase the emotional bank account.
And it's the little things that add up, right? So, and that's in everything. So when we talk about the steps, it's those little steps that get you to where you want to be. So those little things that lead you to that emotional bank account. You're building up that trust. At the end of the day, it's that, that trust and integrity with that person.
And then the third one was keeping commitments. So doing what you say you will do.
Yeah, and he's got here, keeping a commitment or a promise is a major deposit. So when you're keeping those commitments, but breaking one is a major withdrawal.
Yeah,
so
and if you look at this,
you can take out of the account as well as add. Remember, so
yeah. So you may be late to a lunch date or a meeting once, and if you've been consistently being on time other times you've met, you would have a positive bank balance, and then that one time you're late isn't going to be, you know, a biggie. It's not going to be held against you. But if you are constantly 5-10 minutes late to every meeting, you're going to diminish your bank account very quickly.
That's a big one.
And it also comes to our self-trust too. You know, when we we say we're going to get up and go for a walk in the morning, and then we decide to snuggle down and stay in bed, and then we, you know, that chatter starts because we've let ourselves down. We're taking out of our own emotional bank account.
And that's why try and not make promises unless you keep them, even to yourself. So and I think that's why diets don't work. Another one was clarifying expectations. So how often, especially in a workplace, but also in a family, as a mother, Colleen, you know, like setting those expectations and standards and clarifying what it is that's communication makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that you know, sometimes, you know, when you have an expectation and you may share it, but you may not actually be paying attention to how it's been taken on. Because I know there's been times in the workplace for us where we might have given an expectation, but not languaged it in a way or detailed enough that they have actually understood what the outcome was that we were looking for. You know, what that expectation actually looked like. So I think, you know, in the clarifying expectations, again, you know, be really curious. Remember that we all have different maps.
And understanding the why.
Yeah, what's the purpose of doing it? Why am I doing this? Yeah. And then we go into showing personal integrity.
So he goes, people can seek to understand, remember the little things, keep their promises, clarify and fulfill expectations, and still fail to build reserves of trust if they are inwardly duplicitous. I can't say the word, Colleen.
Duplicitous.
Yes, that's it.
I can't think of it. So we suggest that if you'd like to pronounce that word correctly, go to page 205. The other thing that I thought was worth noting too was that one of the most important ways to manifest integrity is to be loyal to those who are not present.
Yes.
So, you know, how we speak about people when they're not present.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Is showing integrity. Yeah.
How often are you in a group or you're with someone who just talks about other people all the time? You're like, when I'm not here, are you doing the same? There's always that question. Apologising sincerely when you make a
withdrawal.
So just acknowledging when you make a mistake or have upset someone.
And I think the really important thing from the apologising sincerely when you make a withdrawal is the knowing what it is you're apologising for and being specific about what that thing is you know, that you're apologizing for. You know, you know, if it's you know, being late, or if it's having let someone down, you know, what was that specific thing that you are apologizing for?
And I guess not to back it up with excuses either.
Yeah.
So I think just own it, and you get more, you get more respect from that than if you try and make excuses with a sorry as well. So just own it. We're not perfect. We don't get it right all the time, and most people will forgive you if you've stuffed up. You know, it's just life.
Providing you put some deposits into that bank account.
That's right. And then it's got the laws of love and the laws of life.
So I had a highlighted bit here. Truly love others without condition, without strings. We help them feel secure and safe, and validate and affirm in their essential worth, identity, and integrity.
Yeah. Love without conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just giving you a bit of a background of what the emotional bank account is, and your deposits and withdrawals, and just understanding how we deal with people. And we go into the 6 paradigms of human interaction. So obviously win-win is the key that we focus on, but there's other human interactions that at certain times are beneficial as well. But we'll just sort of give you a quick rundown of what each of those are. So there's win-win, obviously, win-lose, lose-win, lose-lose, just win, or win-win, or no deal. No deal.
No deal.
So with a win-win, it's a frame of mind, and the heart constantly seeks mutual benefit in all human interactions. So realistically, when you're thinking win-win, when I'm dealing with Colleen, say we're dealing in a business world, all right, Colleen, we can give you this, but in return we get this. You know, win-win. Let's find that common ground that we can work together.
We each benefit from the deal. Yeah.
And realistically, that's really what you want to be trying to achieve. You don't want to be trying to rip people off, or you don't want to, you know.
Yeah, and I think if we keep that in our mind all the time, that in every interaction we have, that, you know, our ultimate goal is to have a win-win outcome.
And it's
not an instant
courage, but also tax consideration, which he goes into, but you need a bit of both. So it's that, it's good negotiating, but it's also being strong in this is what we can do. And I guess that's where that no deal comes in. If you can't meet at a win-win, at an agreement, at a win-win, sometimes it's like, okay,
let's walk away.
But you both agree, you know, you both agreed with that. You're happy to leave that
step away.
So then it goes into win-lose.
Yeah.
So it's that authority. So
it's my way or the highway.
My way or the highway. And you know, I get my way and you don't get yours. It's kind of like that competition. So when you think of a win-lose situation, when you're playing sport, someone's got to win, someone's got to lose, you know, so unless you're playing soccer or something like that.
And this, just speaking about win-lose from a family aspect, you know, when as a parent, you know, it's my way or not at all, that we are actually taking away from the emotional bank account of our children when we're doing that. So thinking about how we can have those conversations in a way that we can language it, that it may be the way as a parent, you know, we need it to be for their safety, but, you know, thinking about how we language it and not the that really authoritarian way of going about speaking to our kids
as well. And then there's lose-win. So it's totally the reverse. So some people it's the complete opposite. So
as a people pleaser, I have been on the end of the letting myself lose and other people win many times.
I'm been exactly the same. So, and I think a lot of us have probably done that as well.
Yeah, sometimes it's not worth you know, we go, no, it's just easier if you get your way, and I'll just.
And sometimes if you've allowed that to happen for such a long time, that's all you know.
Yeah, true.
You don't realise what you're doing. So sometimes it's like you got to snap out of that, or once you realise, again, it's all awareness, isn't it? So, so in the lose-win is worse than actually win-lose, because it has no standards, no demands, no expectation, and no vision. People who think lose-win are usually quick to please or appease. They seek strength from popularity or acceptance. They have little courage to express their own feelings and convictions, and are easily intimidated by the ego strength of others.
Yeah, now who wants to lose-lose?
Well, that's not how business kind of works, does it? You know,
not really. We all want to have a win.
Yeah, and I think it's self-explanatory, isn't it? So there's no good outcome of a lose-lose. So win, just win. And a lot of people who have this frame of mind is what matters is that they get what they want. When there is no sense of contest or competition, win is probably the most common approach in everyday negotiation. You know, the challenge is to try and read the scenario. What's the best solution? I mean, a lot of the time win-win is what you're sort of aiming for, but the other human interactions or the other paradigms have their place, but it's up to you to start to think about it and go, what would work in this scenario, or what am I trying to do? Like this week, I've actually really had win-win on my mind, because I've been reading it, and especially in a work scenario, it's been gold, really. And then, yeah, when you're sort of typing emails or talking to people and you have that win-win approach in your mind or mindset, makes a huge difference.
Yeah, having a job ad today, and you know, that was constantly in my mind, you know, making it balanced between you know, what we're going to be able to provide for them and what we're expecting of them. And you know, probably in the past when I've written a job ad, it's been around what the company needs. And not really looked at that win-win scenario. Then we're going to win-win or no deal. Win-win
or no deal. So basically, I think and we talked about it briefly just before, if you can't come to a win-win agreement, sometimes you just go no deal. And if you're both happy to say this can't happen, and we can't come to an agreement, you just walk away.
And the example
are happy with that.
The example he used in this was around a negotiation, and the salesperson was had decided to stop trying all his sales techniques and actually focus on a win-win outcome, being that he'd been to one of Stephen Covey's conferences the day before or during that day, and he thought, I'll put this into practice and see how it goes. And obviously it worked a charm, because they got a deal. But he was willing to be honest and explain why he was going about the negotiation, or the you know, his needs the way he was, and what he was offering to them, and explaining it, and being open to say, if we can't come up with an agreement that works for both of us, let's just agree to walk away. And that then gave the other person the confidence to actually go, no, I want to work with you, and the deal was passed.
If you can't come with that negotiation, just walk away and leave it be, and everyone's happy, because you haven't won or lost, really. It's just null and void. Because there's
and I think that then builds the integrity to then do work again down the track, or you know, again with
might not be the right time.
Yeah, even in a family situation, you know, if you can't come up with a win-win for the family, that you go, all right, well, let's just sit on it, and then, you know, come up with other ways that you can actually come up with a solution that is going to be a win-win for everyone.
It's that character as well, and I think that's what it goes into now, is the 5 dimensions of win-win. So the first one is character, which is the foundation of win-win. So it goes into under character, you've got your integrity, your maturity. What's the next one?
Abundance mindset.
Abundance mindset. Public victory. And the abundance mentality as well. You've got relationships. So from the foundation of character, we build and maintain win-win relationships. Without trust, the best we can do is compromise. And they said dealing with win-lose is the real test of win-win. So when you're sort of with somebody who's in that win-lose mentality, it's going to be the tester for you with building those relationships. So how can you get someone from that win-lose mentality to come around to that win-win? And sometimes that's just listening to what they have to say, but also bringing in what you can do for them, or why you, and explaining the why behind it as well.
Yeah.
And then it goes to agreements. So when it comes a bit down to those expectations, the processes, the systems and things like that as well. But what are you agreeing between the two of you? I guess it's like,
yeah, so the what is listed here is the desired results. So, you know, when we're having agreement, that we're really specific on, you know, what the desired results are, and the guidelines being, and the parameters being specific, identifying the resources, accountability, setting the standards, and the time and evaluation process, and the consequences, the specific consequences for, you know, whatever might be the possible outcomes.
Yeah. And then it's got performance agreements as well, win-win performance agreements, which I guess they're your key performance indicators, or what are your targets, and to know that these performance has come about through the win-win negotiations and agreements.
And I think another way to look at those indicators is, and the win-win scenario is, when we're looking at working with someone, it could be, you know, whether we're working with a coach, or whether we're working with it could be a mechanic, it could be, you know, anyone that you're an accountant, that we're clear on what our expectations are. So before we go into that relationship, we know what we want from it. So often with my clients, you know, there's issues that have come about because they've gone into a relationship with a provider with certain expectations, but they've never actually languaged those expectations. So I think, you know, it's really clear, it's really good to get clear on what those expectations are before you start those relationships, and know what the KPIs are you expect of that person. So whether it's, you know, a relationship with your accountant and you expect them to meet with you once a quarter, or it's a follow-up call, or you expect your phone calls or emails to be returned within, you know, 48 hours, whatever, you know, whatever it is that you are expecting, to actually, you know, write that down and have those conversations prior to going into the agreement.
That's where the systems come into it, which it goes win-win can only survive in an organisation when the systems support it. How often do we just go into the doing and don't have systems in place to make that happen? Yeah. So you might have that agreement, you might come to that win-win solution, but you don't have the systems in place. It's going to fall apart.
Yeah. And so, again, not just in the business place, in family life as well. You know, life admin, you know, we need to be looking at all those sorts of, you know, what systems can we put in place to support agreement.
And then with systems comes processes. So they generally come in hand in hand. So yeah, putting those processes in place. What is it? You can only achieve win-win solutions with win-win processes.
Yep.
So it comes from so that's a basic summary of the win-win. And there's obviously application suggestions that he has there. So if you've got the book, you can look at doing some of those exercises as well. If anything, if you get anything out of that, just have win-win in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
In any relationship. So any relationships that you have, whether that's business, family, friends, personal trainers to your local or your neighbour, whatever it might be. So and build those emotional bank accounts. Remember, you can add to it and you can actually withdraw from it with people. So
but let's try and just add to them as much as we can.
So what do you maybe look at yourself, and what do I need to change that I might be making withdrawals from other people's emotional bank account of my own? Cord. So sometimes it's good just to look deep inside and see how and what you can make improvements on yourself as well. So
habit 5,
which we touched a bit on with this. It's funny how it all
interconnects.
So seek first to understand, then be understood. So a bit of a listening one, that one.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Colleen, for joining me tonight.
Lovely as always.
Yeah, it's great. And learning lots along the way. So we're getting there step by step, habit by habit. Makes us a learning and growing human, and keeps us green and growing, not ripe and rotting.
That is exactly right.
All right, groupies, you have a good day and night, and whatever time you're watching this, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.